Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello students, I am Jitesh Gola and today we are going to start with Unit 2 of Class 11th main course book. The learning objectives of this Unit 2 is going to be, we will learn about analyzing the text organization, that how the text has been organized, the sequencing will learn. Here we are going to understand about that sequencing. We will also learn to analyze the cause and effect, that what are the different causes. While reading the text, we will come to know about the causes and what are the outcomes or the effects of the particular text. Then we will learn to evaluate use of comparison and the contrast. When we are reading the different data or the text, we will learn to contrast or compare between the two. Beside that, what we are going to learn in this, we will learn about writing a notice, report writing, and then we are also going to learn about how to predict, infer and deduce while listening, that how the listening activity is going on and based on that how we are going to infer the information out of it. Then we will learn to maintain the flow and control the direction of conversation also while speaking. So that is, all these are going to be the learning objectives of Unit 2. Clear? So let's move to the exercise. Let's move to the exercise here. The first one we are taking the warm up, reading and writing. Here what is required, that you are required to get into group of 6 and play a game called consequences, that is outcome or result. Each student should have a piece of paper. This is the activity that is to be conducted by the teacher, and here you are going to learn so many things. Clear about the learning outcomes that we have discussed about sequencing and organizing the text and all, and inferring or predicting the situation and all. So that you are going to learn. When the teacher gives a cue, each student will write a sentence. So that slip, you all must be having the piece of paper where you have to write down a sentence when the teacher is going to give you the cue. Fold the paper to hide what has been written. So each and every student is going to hide his or her sheet from the other student, and then you have to pass it to the right. You just have to shift, or you just have to pass your piece of paper to the right hand side, the one who is sitting right to you. This continues till the cues have been read out, and this will continue until and unless those clues given to you are read out by you. The first clue, if we talk about, was write the name of a man and describe him in one sentence. So you all were supposed to write down the name of any of the men, and then one sentence was required to describe him. The second clue, write the name of a woman whom he met and describe her. Then you have to mention that man met which particular woman, you have to mention the name and need to describe her also. In third clue, where did they meet? Need to mention the place and write a sentence to describe the place. Then write down what the man said, what was the reply of men, what was the dialogue of the men, you have to mention that. Then write down the women said, what was the reply, here the reply of the women you need to mention, or here you have mentioned the question asked by the men. Then write down what happened in the end. So what was the outcome or the consequence of that conversation between the two. So we have to mention. Clear? So these clues were given to you, and accordingly you have to mention it on the slip or the piece of paper that you were having. Then after the stories have been read aloud, discuss in class whether any of the story came across as well as organized and meaningful. What were the elements that made it seem so? So this was the activity, and based on that you have to do the discussion later on when you all are reading out your story, that what was the outcome of that. When you started framing the sentences, were they relevant to each other? Was there any result or consequence of that particular conversation or the particular sentences you framed? So After discussion, you have to mention, was it well organized and meaningful? Yes or no? If yes, then what were the elements that made it so, if it was meaningful? If not, then what were the elements because of which it was not the meaningful? So, all these things are going to be discussed based on this activity given. Clear? Next, we are moving to the let's learn reading part. In a narrative of event, the order in which things happen or the chronology is very important. The sequencing of that. Chronology means sequencing is very important. Like if you are reading a story, what happened in the beginning, then what happened in the beginning or the initial part of the story, then what other events led to that particular situation, what was the outcome of that. So, different events will go on, and that is going to be in chronological order or in the sequence. Either the dates are mentioned or there are clues, words that help us spot the time order relationship. So, whenever these sentences are given or these paragraphs sort of things are given, some clues we have to find out. Either we have to arrange the given data according to the dates, or we can use the different clues given there. Clear? Such as first, second, after, later, until, before, next. All these are the keywords or the hint words we can say, which we can use to arrange the text in the chronological order or arrange the text in the proper sequence. So, based on that, we are going to do the practice. Let's start with that. Here, let's practice reading. This question is given here. We need to identify which of these paragraphs is written in chronological order. Underline the word that help you determine the order or sequence of events. So, what we have to do? Here, the different paragraphs are given. Here, the 4 paragraphs are given to us. We have to read these and then we have to arrange it in the chronological order, that which one is going to be the sequence, the proper sequence of these paragraphs. So, some keywords that we have discussed, first, second, later, next, these kind of keywords we have to find out and then mention that how we got to know about the sequencing. Clear? So, let's start with that. The ancient history of Nagas is unclear. Tribes migrated at different times, each settling in the northeastern part of present India and establishing their respective sovereign mountain terrains and village stated. There are no records of whether they came from northern Mongolian region, Southeast Asia or Southwest China, except that their origin are from the east of India. So, we read this part. Now, we are moving to the next one. Historic records show the present day Naga people settled before the arrival of the Ahoms in 1228 century. Before the arrival of European colonialism in South Asia, there had been many wars, persecutions and raids from Burma on India's northeast. The first European entered the hills in 1832 and then from 1839 to 1850 the British sent 10 military expeditions to the region. So, this is the second part we have read. Clear? Next. The next is Hornbill Festival showcases a melange of cultural display under one roof. The festival is named after the hornbill bird, which features in the folklores of most of the state's tribes. The week-long festival unites Nagaland and people enjoy the colorful performances, crafts, sports, food fairs, games and ceremonies. So, we got to know that in the previous one some details were given, the years were mentioned, then in the first one and this one some details are given related to here, it is related to festival or something. Now we are going to move to the next part. We went to a restaurant last week called Ethnic Table. Before we found the place, we got quite lost in a small lanes. When we finally arrived, we were tired and terribly hungry. The meal was found waiting for us, quite made up for our ordeal though. First we had some smoked pork and fish with agzwan and anishi. Then there was a delicious preparation of chicken and bamboo shoot, followed by a serving of ekibai and ending with a large platter of pork ribs. At the end of the meal, we were stuffed but happy. So, at the end of the meal, we were stuffed but happy, and we went to restaurant last week. So, somewhere it is giving us the idea. These 4 paragraphs we read, and somewhere we are getting the idea that this is going to be the last one, and these are the hints we can find here. At the end of the meal, we were stuffed but happy. So, here we have mentioned, so we are giving the numbering 4 to it. Clear? Now we are going to just look for the previous paragraphs that we have read. We'll do the sequencing of that also. So here in the first one they mention about the ancient history of Nagas is unclear, tribes migrated, and it means already they have mentioned about something and then they are coming to this point. So the second point, the second paragraph, if we talk about, that should be chronological, that should be the point 1, that should be the paragraph 1. So we have mentioned this. Historic records show the present day Naga people settled before the arrival, and then after that we are going to take this one where they are talking about giving the description of that. And then thirdly, this festival is going to be, and after that when they have explained about this festival, and the 4th paragraph we have already seen, that is going to be the 4th one. So hopefully the sequence is clear to each and everyone that we have to mention. Second one is given, then first one, then third, and the last one is this 4th one. So this is the proper sequencing, means this second para should come at the first, then the first para given should come, and then the third will remain at 3rd place, and the 4th one will be at the 4th. So this is the proper sequencing we have learned to do, and how we have organized that text, that is based on the data given or the text given to us. It is required to understand the keywords and the logical sequencing. We need to find out that how with the different logical words or logical sequencing we are able to arrange the given text. Now we are going to take the question number 2 based on the same. Read the passage and answer the questions that follow. So here reading comprehension is given to us, and every time one of the strategy that you can follow here, go through the questions one, just have the look of the question, first, and then come to the reading part, because somewhere that is going to save your time, that is going to keep some keywords in your mind that you have to focus while you are reading your text. Here, so let's start with that. Here, Harry Potter is an orphan living with his mean aunt and uncle when he discovers that he is a wizard. Harry has no memory of his parents, who he was told died in a car crash in 1981. On his 11th birthday, some keywords you are getting in between, so according to the question, just keep check on that, keep mentioning that, and it should be there in your mind. He discovers that magic not only exists, but that he is extremely famous in the wizarding world for having caused the disappearance and possibly death of the most infamous Dark Lord Voldemort. This evil wizard had failed to kill Harry when he was just a year old, although he had succeeded in killing his parents. At first, Harry can't believe the story. Then he remembers that he had once turned a teacher's wig blue when he was a little boy of 4 in primary school. Another time he had found himself inexplicably on the top of the school building when he was being chased by his bullying cousin Dudley and his gang of friends. Strangest of all, he had mysteriously freed a boa constrictor at the zoo when he was there as an unwanted guest at Dudley's birthday treat. That very June before he turned 11. So somewhere we can say that age as a keyword has been mentioned here. We'll see later on that what is the main idea behind it and why these dates, the years are mentioned like that. Because after reading the questions, you might have got the idea that some questions are based on that fact also. So that's why we have to pay more attention over there. The discovery of the magical word changes Harry's life. He goes off to Hogwarts, the greatest wizarding school in Britain, on 1st September 1991, and from then on, through 7 books, each chronicling 1 year of his life, we find Harry entangled in one breathless adventure after the other. Now we are going to continue with that. In his first year, Harry stops the return of Voldemort, defeating the possessed Professor Quirrell and saving the Philosopher's Stone from being stolen. In his second year, he kills a basilisk, a monstrous being whose direct gaze kills people. Each year brings new challenges, from the devastating Triwizard Tournament in his 4th year to forming Dumbledore's army, a group of students determined to fight evil, in his 5th year. In the 7th book, Harry and his friend drop out of school for a year as they go on a mysterious quest. At the end of the book, Harry finally defeats Voldemort, although many lives are lost in the final battle, including his best friend Ron's twin brothers Fred and George Weasley. So, while you are reading this story, you might have seen that how one event is related to the another one, how the sequencing has been given. So, that also you have to pay attention here. Now let's move to the next part of the story. 19 years after Voldemort's death, Harry's second son, Albus Severus Potter, goes to Hogwarts and starts a chain of events that nearly causes the return of Voldemort. Fortunately, old friends are reunited and new friendship hold strong to avert the crisis, and in the end, Harry and his son are closer than before. So we saw that how the story, the indication was given that now this is the end of the story, the happy ending is there, the things were fine. So the sequencing, we have seen that how the story was given and the different events were there in the chronological order. Clear? Different keywords also, if we talk about keywords also we saw in between the story. Now based on that, we have to attempt the question answers given. Clear? As I already told you that before starting the reading part, you just have to go through the questions first so that you are going to keep focus. So hopefully you all did that. Now it will be easy for you because you have to read the list of events and show the chronological order by filling in the blanks with the correct dates or ages. So what we have to do, that we have to arrange it in the chronological order, means the proper date or the age we have to mention here. The first one, Harry Potter was born in the year. So that is very clearly mentioned there in your, that was 1980. So simply the year you are going to mention. Lord Voldemort failed to kill Harry in the year, because you must be knowing that the hint was given that he killed his parent when he was 1 year, and at that time he failed. So obviously when he was born in 1980, so after 1 year it will be 1981 is going to be the correct year. Harry Potter went to Hogwarts first in the year. We have to mention in which year. Firstly, he joined Hogwarts University, that is 1991. After 10 years, we have to mention here. Clear? Harry freed a boa constrictor when he was. So, all these sequence are given in that detail. So, when he was, we have to mention 10 years old. The next one, he killed a Bellatrix when he was 12 years old. That details are also given there. Then Harry was dash years old when he formed Dumbledore's army. So that he was only 15 years old. Next, Fred and George Weasley died in the year. So we have to mention when they died. According to the sequence, we have to count the year, after how many years it was given. So you have to mention that. So it was, according to the story, it is going to be in 1998. Then Albus Severus first went to Hogwarts in the year, because it was given that after 19 years that history was created, or again he joined. So that is going to be in 2010. Clear? So hopefully all these blanks are clear, and simply you used date and the age here to continue the chronological order of the given events here. Now we are moving to the next part of this story. Here they have asked, read the passage and fill the missing events. Harry's parents were killed by Lord Voldemort. So when they were killed, when Harry was then, we have to mention the age of that. Harry was then 1 year old. Clear? Then the next one, Harry turned a teacher's wig blue. When it was done, soon after that, okay, here it is given, Harry turned a teacher's wig blue. Soon after that, what was the outcome, the consequences of that? So we have to mention that he was found, we have to write, he was found on the top of the building. Top of the building here. Clear? The next one, Harry freed a boa constrictor from the zoo. This happened before he. So here we have to mention, it is clearly given in that before he was 11. Means around the age of 10 only he did this kind of thing. Then the fourth one, Harry formed Dumbledore's army to fight. Harry formed Dumbledore's army to fight evil in his 5th year. Clear? So we have to just continue that who formed it. So we can mention a group of students formed it. If we talk about the Dumbledore's army, it was formed by the students. Next is Lord Voldemort. Lord Voldemort is finally defeated 19 years later. So we have to mention 19 years later, Harry's, in the last part of your story it is given, Harry's second son, the name you will mention, Albus Severus Potter goes to Hogwarts. We'll mention here 19 years later he was defeated when finally he went to Hogwarts. Clear? So hopefully this exercise was clear to each and everyone. Let's learn reading. You have learned that writers use different examples to support the main idea that is being developed in passage. So, while we are reading, that different ideas are given, the main idea or the themes are being presented by the writers. Depending on what the purpose of writing is, writers also use different techniques or pattern in order to communicate to the reader. And when the writers are writing any text, any story, what they do, they follow the different techniques or the strategies, we can say, or the pattern, so that they can easily communicate with the reader. So, the different techniques we are going to talk about here. The first one is comparing and contrasting. This is used to establish similarity or the difference if that is the main concern. So, if somewhere the writer would like to show the comparison between the or contrast between the two things, so that is going to be the main idea of the given text. How we can see it? How we can say that it is the sort of contrast or the comparison being done by the writer. So, with the example, one example we can say that Nagaland is largely a mountainous state except for the areas bordering the Assam Valley, whereas Assam has hills, plains and plateau regions. So, here this keyword whereas gives us the idea that it is a comparison between the two places. Clear? Relating cause and effect. This is another technique or the pattern used by the writers, where they are talking about the relating cause and its effect. Something, any situation they are giving, and after that they are mentioning about the impact or the effect of that. So, let us see, this is used when the result of ideas, things and events seems important, when they want to focus on the outcomes or the result of the ideas they have used. For example, the decrease in insurgency and violence has led to an increase in annual growth rate since the state has to spend less of its resources on law and order and security. So, here what we can see, that situation they have given and what is going to be the impact they have shown here. The decrease in insurgency, because of the decrease in insurgency and violence, what happened? Increase in annual economic growth. The positive impact is visible here. Clear? Since the state has to spend, and why this is so? Reason also, the cause is also given here. They have to, as the state has to spend less on its, resources now, like law, order and security, and that is why the increase in the economic growth could be seen. So, cause and effect relation we are going to talk about here. That is the another strategy. Now, we will take one exercise based on the same, and we'll go through the passage and we'll attempt the questions given based on that. Let's practice reading we are going to take here. Here we have to read the passage and we need to complete the sentences that follow with cause or effect factor. So, the example we have seen, the cause and effect could be there. Sometimes the result is given, the outcome is given, you have to mention the cause, or if cause is given, we have to talk about the effect of that. Clear? So, we'll continue with the reading of this passage, and then hopefully you all have already read the questions before starting the reading. So, that is on your part that you have to do every time whenever you are doing the reading comprehension. So, let's start with that. A man used to set basket traps to catch fish, but every night an otter came and ate the fish in the traps. The man was angry and set a trap, so when the otter came one night, it could not get out again. In the morning, the man found it and said, "Ah, so you are the one who has been eating my fish. Now, I shall take and eat you." He went off carrying the otter in the basket, and when they came near the village, the otter heard a pig grunting. "What is that?" he asked. "When I have killed and eaten you," said the man, "and go to the jungle to ease myself, the pig will come and eat the dung." So, The men replied that when I am going to kill and going to eat you, at that time the pig will come and will eat the dung there. The otter was very frightened, and when they had gone a little further and heard a cock crowing, he asked what that was. So the men replied, when the pig has eaten the dung and got rid of its droppings in turn, the cock will come and eat them and so eat you up for the third time. The otter was frightened still more after getting to know the reply from the men. Don't eat me, let me live, and I will give you a useful piece of advice. So men asked, what is that? What is it? Said the man. When one of your children gets a fish bone stuck in its throat, said the otter, take a piece of skin from an otter's throat and stroke the child's throat with it 8 times and say, this order the otter gave of old. If it goes down, it goes down. If it goes up, it goes up. And the fish bone will go one way or the other. So here we mentioned about that the otter gave him the advice that if in future any of your child is going to get this fish bone stuck, so this advice or this treatment is going to help them out. That either it will go one way or the other. The problem will not be there. So then the men let the otter go. And to this day, when anyone gets a fish bone stuck in their throat, men do as the otter told them. And this is something based on the proverb. We can say that how the people are following this tradition still. So this story was based on that. Now what we have to do? We have to complete the given sentences. That either the cause will be given here, you have to mention the effects, or effects will be given here, you have to mention about the cause of that. Clear? So let's start with the first one. The otter would eat the fish in the trap. So why the otter is going to eat the fish in the trap? You have to complete the sentence over there. So that is going to be, the otter would eat the fish in the trap. So the men set a trap for it. Clear? Next, the men said he would eat the otter because. Why men said that he is going to eat the otter? Because it will mention it ate his fish, and that's why the trap was done for the otter to catch. Third one, the otter was frightened the first time. Why the otter was frightened first time? Because the men mentioned that pig would eat him up. This was the first time when it was told to him and he was frightened. The otter heard about the cock and was frightened. So why? The second time again he was frightened. The otter heard about the cock and was frightened. So what was the result of that? What he said? He will. So here we have to mention. So he gave an advice. So he gave an advice to a man. Clear? Then next is, when anyone gets a fish bone stuck in his throat. So what is the, if somebody is getting that kind of effect, what happens? What they are going to do? We have to mention that if such kind of situation is taking place. So what is going to be done? So we'll mention men do as the otter told. So this is the outcome that they are doing if such kind of situation is taking place. So cause and effects relation we have seen here, and based on that only we have filled all the blanks given based on the story. Now we are moving to the next part of that. Here in this question they have asked you to read the passage, and again you have to choose the correct option to write the answer, the questions that follow. Before proceeding, firstly just have a look at the questions given along with that, and then we'll come to the reading part. So hopefully all of you have gone through the questions once. Now let's start with the reading. Recent studies have negated the previous belief that consumption of eggs affects the cholesterol level among humans. It has also been proved that eggs do not increase the risk of heart disease and stroke. Nutritionists often recommend pulses, greens and an egg a day to patients seeking a healthy diet. But they say many patients do not approve of the egg because they think it adds extra fat. The truth, however, is different. Eggs provide more protein than any vegetable. They are rich in vitamin A and E and also contain minerals, omega-3 fatty acids and folate, which are known to keep coronary heart disease and other illness at bay. Eggs contain all of the essential amino acids as opposed to plant protein sources such as beans and lentils, which lack some of the amino acids essential to us. Foods that contain animal protein tend to be high in several nutrients that are often lacking in plant foods. Of course, there are also plenty of nutrition found in plants that are lacking in animal foods. Therefore, eating balanced amount of both is the best way to get all the nutrition you need. So here we saw that some information was given to us based on the eggs and ultimately related to the balanced diet, the balanced food that we should have to maintain the good health. Now, based on this passage given, we have to find out the answer of the given questions that follows. So let's start with that. The first one they have given, according to the passage, people avoid eggs because. So we have to understand that what is going to be the main, so we have to find out which one is going to be the appropriate answer of the option for the question number 1. The first one they have given, it increases cholesterol and fats. It has a pungent smell of religious reason and it is expensive. So, most of the people are avoiding eggs because they are not aware about the fact and they think that it increases cholesterol and fat. So, this one is the appropriate option which is going with the passage. So, we have to select this one. Rest of the 3 are ruled out. Clear? So, the appropriate option is option A. The question number 2, minerals, omega fatty acids and folate found in eggs. We have to find out the correct option. Have high protein content, contain all nutrition, add extra fat, keep illness at bay. When you will refer your passage, you must be knowing the appropriate option for this is going to be this one, option D, which keep illness at bay means it reduces the risk of disease or illness. So, that is going to be the answer for question number 2. The third one, earlier scientists believed that the consumption of eggs, these are the things we have to, these 4 options are given and again we have to recall that what was the appropriate option given in the passage. Should be a part of healthy diet, then provides little protein, affects the cholesterol level, prevents coronary heart disease. So, the consumption of eggs, according to that, what was the main answer? So, in the first paragraph only it is given that option C is the correct one. According to some scientists, they think that the consumption of eggs affects the cholesterol level. Clear? So, this is going to be the correct option, option C for question number 3. Question number 4 we are taking here, essential amino acids are. We have to find out which one is the correct option for that out of these 4. First one, there in all plant sources of protein. B, found in eggs but not in vegetables. Not required by us to function are found in beans, lentils and eggs. So this is not the correct one. Here, amino acids, if we talk about according to the passage, it is clearly given, it is specially given in eggs but not found in vegetables. So option B is going to be the correct answer for question number 4. So hopefully the things are clear. While you are reading, you should understand to predict and infer the required information out of the given text, and based on that we have to attempt the questions. So while you are reading the passage, keep the keywords in your mind that where you have to focus and find out the answer without wasting much time on turning the pages again and again. Clear?